Hello. I just want to talk about Jesus. Okay. All right. So we got a fun bit today. Let me just show you what the conclusion is. All right. So the conclusion is that Jesus shows the people how to be the people. Full stop. You will never move me from that position. This is where I'm always going to be coming from. Okay. So I'm still walking through. I'm going to paint the picture really quick. So I'm still walking through the challenge. And the challenge is that I have a duty and I have an obligation to show my neighbors Jesus. How am I doing this? By laying the tracks down on the screen, okay? So I'm doing this for a memory. Okay, so we're still walking through Matthew, and we're walking through Matthew because Matthew is giving us a perspective from the Jews of who Jesus is, how Jesus is the Messiah and the King. And it's also, Matthew is also showing us how Jesus fulfills Old Testament prophecies. And Matthew is also tracing Jesus's lineage back to Abraham, and Matthew is also emphasizing his role as the son of David. Okay? And we love it, right? We love it. So I want to pause for a hot second on this bit because I got set off, right? So you're going to see this on the screen where this is what set me off. It says the end of critical thinking, right? Humanity is devolving, right? This is what the presenter showed me today, and it was a really interesting tale, right? He says the end of critical thinking and rise of collective stupidity. Okay, and then he has a essayist named Carlo Cipolla. Okay, so there was this dude who wrote this essay, and it was a very interesting essay. Let me show you what it says. It says in 1976, Italian economic historian Carlo wrote a short essay that has become one of the most unsettling documents ever written about human behavior. The basic laws of human stupidity. Okay? Human stupidity. Remember this bit right here, okay? Carlo argued that stupidity is not an insult. It is a structural force. Stupidity is a structural force, more dangerous than crime and the true cause of civilization decline. All right. So when you look around and you want to know why societies fall and they decline, it's because of stupidity, right? Carlo never lived to see the accelerant, right? This is what he's claiming in this bit. A machine in your pocket that thinks for you, right? They're talking about the internet and they're talking about our smartphones, right? They're talking about the fact that we have access to all of the world's information at our fingertips, right? But yet people are still stupid, right? And he's not saying it's an insult. He said it is what did he say? He says it's a structural force. Stupidity is a structural force, and I agree, right? I agree with what his words was that he was saying, because I'm seeing it happening right now, and I happen to live through a lot of it, right? Because full disclosure, I'm out here in California right now, and I'm wondering why the state is declining. I'm wondering why the city is looking just filthy, right? The city is looking filthy, and then I see that we have people that are in positions that don't know what it is that they're doing, and it's not that they don't have the credentials. Okay, they have the names, they have the alphabets behind their names. They went to the schools, they can say all the right things, right? But when we say, can you do the job? I'm looking around and I'm like, they can't do the job, right? This is a pattern in the practice that I've experienced personally, from the military to the healthcare industry to the law world, right? I've experienced it in so many different layers. I even experienced it in my Christian community, right? I experienced this structural force called stupidity, and it just bothers me, right? It bothers me. But the reason why it happens is because it says that the ones that think, right, those that think, they go silent, they go dark, they just disappear. They go on the back end and then they start doing their own thing, right? And I don't want that to happen. I'm not saying that I'm a thinker, but I'm saying that I can see things, and in the things that I see that there's solution to the problems that exist out there, and they seem to be very simple, right? But then when I try to explain this to my neighbors don't want to listen, right? They don't want to listen because I don't have the proper credentials. But it is what it is, and the people are going to get what they get, but I know that ultimately God's in control, so let's get back to the point of what I'm talking about is that, the conclusion is that Jesus shows the people how to be the people. I just wanted to talk about that bit because, it's very interesting to see all of the stuff that's going on in the world right now. And it's just like, yeah, stupidity is a structural force, right? In the Bible, my father, who is God, because Jesus is my brother, he calls it foolishness, right? He calls it foolishness, and it's out there, right? It's out there, and you just got to be wise. You got to be wise to be able to know how to deal with those things, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and hop on this bit. All right, the gospel according to Matthew. So I already showed you the conclusion, is that Jesus shows the people how to be the people. I showed you the challenge. The challenge is that I need to show neighbors Jesus. Why? Because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, okay? And then I'm walking through the perspective of Matthew right now because it's fun, right? And we love showing people points of view. These are what we call case studies, right? So now when you drop down, you're going to see this bit where it says, question presented. I love asking this question at the beginning and at the end because I really want to know who my neighbors, I want to know who is your supreme authority, right? I love asking this to all my neighbors. I love asking it openly, and then I love watching how my neighbors show me who their supreme authority is through their actions, right? Through their behaviors, right? It's really cool. So I always want to know who your supreme authority is, okay? My supreme authority is Jesus Christ, okay? That's just how I get down. And I love showing people and telling people who my authority is because I want to see who your king is, okay? Now, drop down and we're going to show you the show. We got 6 bits. We're going to walk through 6 bits today, and these are the titles for the bits. 1. Jesus cleanses the leper. 2. Jesus heals the centurion's wife. 3. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law and others. 4. What it takes to be a disciple. Remember this, what it takes to be a disciple. 5. Jesus calms the sea. And 6. Jesus cures 2 demoniacs. I always have a hard time saying that word, right? But these are 2 people that are possessed with devils, okay? All right, so remember this bit right here. This is my building block, right? Is that Jesus is my king. You will never move me from that position. I will be on this position until Father taps me out and then brings me back up, and then he judges me, but Jesus is going to be my advocate. So I'm cool. Okay. I'm paid in full. All right. So let's go ahead and hop on this bit. We're going to have some fun now. We're going to go ahead and show you how we execute. Execute means to follow, and I follow Christ. Okay. Check this out. Scripture says Jesus cleanses the leper. All right. Let me pause on this bit too. So I'm going to read this and then I'm going to jump in and out, so please forgive me if I jump in and out because I like to make points and I like to point things out because, I'm a disciple and this is how I learn. Okay, check this out. Jesus cleanses the leper. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. I'm going to pause on this bit. So this is we're going through Matthew chapter 8, verse 1 through 34 right now. So we just finished Matthew chapter 7, and Matthew chapter 7 was part of the end of the Sermon on the Mount, right? So Jesus already dropped all the laws on the people, and he told them what it is that he's doing and how they're supposed to move and how they're supposed to operate in that one sermon, right? This called the Sermon on the Mount, right? So Jesus laid it out for all the people that follow him, right? And we got it now, and we need to follow this bit. So now we're cutting to the scene where it's after he gave the sermon. Now he's coming back down from the mountain, and now he's walking amongst the people yet again, and then he's getting ready to do some things, right? And we love this bit right here, okay? All right, rewind. Let's start it back over again. Jesus cleanses the leper. 1. When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. And Jesus saith unto him, See thou tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them. You see that bit right there? I'm going to pause on this bit right there. So we like how Jesus cleansed him, because the leper asked, he said, Lord, cleanse me. Jesus said, I will, be thou clean. Boom, he's clean, right? But we like this bit right here where Jesus tells him, see, don't tell anybody, tell no man, but go show thyself to the priests, to the priests. These would be called the Levites, right? And then offer them a gift for a testimony unto them, right? We like that bit right there where, Jesus tells them just to be chill, be quiet, go do what you need to do according to the laws of Moses, okay? All right, let's keep it going. Cut scene, next bit. Jesus heals the centurion's servant. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. Look at what Jesus is saying, right? The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled, and said to them that followed, Verily, I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say unto you, that many shall come from the east and the west, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the self same hour. I'm going to pause on this bit too right here, okay? We love this bit, okay, because Jesus would be talking to a Gentile. The centurion would be a Gentile, or what you would call one of the Romans, okay? And then just that bit right there where he says, where the centurion says, I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, right? He's telling him this is how he operates, so he understands who Jesus is, because he calls Jesus Lord. And then he says, I am not worthy, right? This is a powerful bit right here. And then when Jesus marveled at it, and he's like, yo, the children of Israel don't even get down like this, man. He said, look at you. You would be a Gentile. You are a Roman, right? You would be foreign to me, right? And then you're already telling me how you get down because you understand the hierarchy, the authority. You see who it is that I am, and you're going to do it. And then Jesus hooked him up, right? We love this bit right here, but we also know that, there's so many layers to this bit right here. I'm gonna pause on it too, is because, it's like an example would be, is that we have people that are in positions who are under authority who don't know where their authority comes from, right? An example would be the government of the United States of America and every state within America, right? Is that the authority that created these governments are called the people, right? So when the people present themselves to their servants and their servants don't listen, it reminds me of the children of Israel, right? That's just how America reminds me right now, is that the government that we've created are the children of Israel, right? And then they're just running wild. They just run so wild and they don't listen to their creator, right? We gave them simple terms. We gave them conditions. We gave them a constitution and they still don't listen. They do what they want and they keep sinning and they keep missing the mark, right? But Jesus is showing us how to get down and we love it, okay? All right, so we're done with this bit. I can talk about this and go on and on and on, but I won't. I'll try to keep it tight. All right, let's hop on the next scene. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law and others. 14. And when Jesus was come into Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of fever. And he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. When the even was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all that were sick, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Esaias the prophet, saying, himself took our infirmities and bare our sickness. You see that bit right there? Jesus is showing you patterns and practice, okay? All right, let's hop on our next scene. What it takes to be a disciple. Look at this bit right here. This is a killer. Now, when Jesus saw the great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. And a certain scribe came and said unto him, Master, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus saith unto him, the fox have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. Look at that bit. And another of his disciples said unto him, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. But Jesus said unto him, follow me, and let the dead bury the dead. Look at what Jesus said. You follow me and let the dead bury the dead. This one, I'm going to pause on this one too. This one is a very hard one right here because, it's like, and I know this because I'm speaking from firsthand knowledge, is that, like when I follow Jesus, right, I cut off everybody from my past, right? To me, they were dead, right? They were dead. And then I cut them off, right? But then at the same time, I still wanted to help them, right? And this is still a pattern and a practice that I have that I'm always wrestling with, is that I still want to help my neighbors out and I still want to help the people that are surrounded by me. But sometimes they just don't listen, right? They don't listen. And then I'm just like, well, I'm just going to keep following Jesus. And whatever I sprinkle out your way, you can either pick it up and put it down. You can do what you want with it. But I'm just going to keep on following Jesus because I just let the dead bury the dead, right? And then every person to me is dead because a person is not a real thing. A person is a mask that people use to speak to, okay? So that's how I get down as being a disciple of Jesus Christ, okay? I do what he says, right? And then sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes it's very, very hard to do. And then I wrestle with myself back and forth to do it, but I still got to do it because Jesus shows me the way, the truth, and the life, okay? All right, we're done with that bit. Let's hop on our next slide. Next scene. Jesus calms the sea. This is a fun bit too. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him, and behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves, but he was asleep. Jesus was knocked out. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. They're shook right now, right? And Jesus saith unto them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm, right? He said, chill, right? But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? You see that right there? We love that bit right there because Jesus is flexing right now on them and he's telling them, like, you guys really lack faith, right? I'm in the boat with you. I'm in this ship with you, right? We're moving out. You're cool. You're safe. You're with me, right? But they were so shook and they were like, save us, save us. and he saved them, right? But then they were still wondering, who is this man, right? Who is this man? We all know who he is. Jesus is the only begotten Son of God, right? And then we love how he's always flexing and he's always showing us how we're supposed to move and how we're supposed to operate. I love Jesus for this, okay? All right, check out this bit right here, okay? Jesus cures 2 demoniacs. 28. And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesens, there met him 2 possessed with devils coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man passed by that way. I'm going to pause on that bit right there. So these remind me of the people right now that will be homeless out there, turned out on drugs, or what some people will call the super meth, right? So we got a lot of people that are possessed right now by different spirits, right? And then we can see them acting out in reality. And we know that we need a lot of people, a lot of believers to get out there and help them, right? Because they need help because they're possessed by devils, right? And with the power of Christ, through Jesus Christ, right, we can do a lot of good to help these people out. And this bit right here reminds me of that, okay? So please forgive me for starting off like that. Let's go ahead and start back at the beginning. Jesus cures 2 demoniacs. Demoniacs. I can't say that word. 2 demons. And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesens, there met him 2 possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we done to thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? They know who he is. Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from them and herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said, look at what Jesus said. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. And behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city and told everything, right? And what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. You see that? The keepers of the swine, the keepers of the pigs saw it, and then they booked out, and then they went into the city and they were like, Look, dude, let me tell you what just happened, okay? 34. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of the coast. To be continued. I love that bit right there because Jesus is flexing again. The devils know, the people that are possessed with devils, they know who the Son of God is, right? They understand who Jesus is. Now, we understand that there's a lot of my neighbors who may not know who the Son of God is, but in the end, we're all going to find out. And then this is why we have a duty and an obligation to get out here and teach all my neighbors the words, okay? But I always end with this question. Here's a question. Who is your supreme authority? Is it God or is it man, right? We want to know who your supreme authority is. My supreme authority is God, and how do I know this? Because I have faith. I have faith in Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ brought me back into the family, and he washed me and he cleansed me. And now I'm one of the sons through Jesus Christ, and I love it. And I want other people out there to join the family too, okay? And this is why I do what I do. All right, that's it. We're done. Let's go ahead and walk it back up. So I just wanted to show you that building block that Jesus is my king. And then I wanted to show you those 6 bits, right? Remember these. Jesus cleanses the leper. Jesus heals the centurion servant. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law and others. What it takes to be a disciple. Jesus calms the sea, and Jesus cures 2 people possessed with devils, okay? Right? So if you understand the pattern and the practice within those bits right there, you're going to bring down your stress levels a whole lot, okay? And then you're going to understand the conclusion is that Jesus shows the people how to be the people, all right? That's all I'm supposed to do. I'm just supposed to spread the word, and share with my neighbors who Jesus Christ is, because I love it and it's fun, and I want you guys to come back into the family. All right, my neighbor? All right, that's it. We're done. This one's off my heart now. We're going to put this together. We're going to upload it. We're going to see how it flows. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.